Hello everybody, it's TannerFishies here, back again with a new Ninjago video here on the channel. In today's video we are going to be discussing when and where we will see the departure of Master Wu in the Ninjago storyline. Now first things first, I very much expect Master Wu to indeed perish before the series is over, so for me it's not exactly a matter of if Master Wu will die, it's more like a matter of when the show will decide to kill him off. And in today's video we are going to be exploring some possibilities as to how we could potentially see Wu leave the show when his time does eventually come. Like I said, to me it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and where. But that doesn't mean that I'm 100% correct here. Even though I am quite confident that Master Wu will be killed off at some point before the series end, I feel like he very well could stick around up until the Ninjago finale. Like I said, we're not exactly sure when the finale will be, and we're not exactly sure if Wu is going to be surviving all the way up to that very end. But for the purposes of this video, we're just going to assume that Master Wu will indeed be killed off at some point in time. But like I said, do not treat anything in this video like a confirmation of anything. This is just a list of my own thoughts and my own theories as to what we could potentially see in the future. This is not a confirmation of anything. So moving on from that, we have seen Master Wu kind of get killed off before in the show. Master Wu is kind of infamous for being the character with the most near-death experiences in Ninjago, which is quite the feat considering how the series has been going on for almost 10 years now, and all of the ninja, all of the characters, have suffered at least a couple of near-death experiences. Master Wu has the most though, and in a lot of ways we've seen several of these be examples as to how Master Wu could indeed be killed off. The first time that we saw Master Wu pretty much die of sorts, if you will, was during the finale of season 1. At least this is like one of the first major ones. One of the first major instances of Master Wu being killed off. This was when he was eaten by the Great Devourer alongside Pythor when the giant snake was unleashed upon Ninjago. Not allowing Pythor to escape and letting the ninja flee, Master Wu basically sacrificed himself in order to accomplish both of these things. As a result, both him and Pythor were eaten by the Great Devourer. Master Wu had this little disintegration moment, and the ninja and the audience at the time just assumed that Master Wu had indeed died here. Fortunately for everybody involved, towards the end of season 1, it was revealed that Wu had survived being eaten by the giant snake and walked away freely, unlike Pythor, who suffered both a bleaching of the skin and presumably some type of trauma following the event. The second example that I want to use in today's video is the idea of Master Wu turning evil. This is something that we saw throughout season 3 when he was abducted by the Overlord and turned into a type of cyborg type character. Evil Master Wu made his debut in season 3 and was quite the formidable opponent to the ninja for at least the first couple of episodes. Unlike the first instance though, this wasn't really a hardcore example of Master Wu dying as much as it was just an example of him departing from his Master Wu title, if you will. He was known as Tech Wu or Evil Wu, whatever you want to call it, so for all intents and purposes, Master Wu was no longer a part of the series. Another really big example was during Hands of Time, when Master Wu was literally dying of old age when he was hit by the Time Punch, and throughout season 7 we saw him slowly grow older and older up until his near demise. Fortunately, the ninja were able to reverse him, and as such, Wu immediately jumped into a time vortex and disappeared from the series once again. It wasn't until the next season when it was revealed that he was indeed alive, but he was kind of aged backwards. He was a baby, but Master Wu himself had departed for a long time. Some of the ninja assumed that he was lost forever, while others decided to constantly check up on various leads to see if they could somehow recover their leader. So as I've said, we've seen several examples of Master Wu departing before, but none of these examples actually kept a permanent decision. They toyed with the idea of killing off Wu and experimented with various ways that the Ninjago show could indeed accomplish this task, but like I said, it has not been permanent as of yet. Master Wu has had the most amount of near-death experiences out of all the characters on the show, so you think that he would die eventually. But no, the dude is practically invincible at the moment. But like I said, we're going to be assuming that Master Wu will be killed off eventually, and the only reason why I say this is because of the overwhelming cliche of the master character dying. This is something that we've seen in several pieces of media. I'm sure you guys could list examples down below, but the classic idea and the classic trope of this type of media essentially follows the master passing on all of his lessons and all of his judgment to the student, and then being killed either by one of the main villains of the series or by some other means. Either way, the master dying is a very common cliche, and it kind of motivates the hero, if you will, to do something more, to follow in his master's footsteps and become the same level of respectable warrior that his master was. We've seen that throughout several pieces of media, and even Ninjago has experimented with this as well. Ninjago's been going on for about 10 years now, but we haven't really seen Master Wu permanently suffer this fate. We haven't seen this cliche be fully recognized. And I'm not saying that Ninjago has to adapt to every single cliche in the book, but Ninjago is indeed filled with cliches and predictability, so I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually go this route, and I'm kind of surprised that they haven't done it yet. But in terms of Master Wu dying, how exactly do I think we might see this in the future? I have a list of a few ideas here that I want to go through, the first one being dying a hero, saving the ninja from some type of threat, but giving his life in the process. We've seen Master Wu sacrifice everything for his ninja, but it has never really been permanently fatal. It's only been really extreme close calls or near-death experiences. I would expect to see a moment where Master Wu saves the ninja from some type of new threat, but gives up his life in the process. That could totally be something that I would expect. Maybe he would give up his life for Lloyd, his nephew. I could see that being a thing too. Or perhaps Misako, his kind of love interest, if you want to call her that. Their relationship is kind of weird and questionable to say the least, but either way, Master Wu sacrificing himself for a loved one is definitely not out of the question. However, I feel like that opportunity has kind of passed already. There have been several threats where Wu could have easily died to save the ninja, and in fact that did happen during Season 1 during our Great Devourer example. However, like I said, that was not permanent. I think we should see something permanently happen in that regard, or maybe the second option that I have, perhaps he could even be betrayed by somebody that he trusts. Master Wu is kind of notorious for keeping things from the ninja. Throughout several examples of Ninjago seasons, we have seen hints and clues that Master Wu's past has been kept a secret, for various reasons of course. Several examples of Ninjago villains have personal connections to Master Wu, and it's always a case of, oh, I haven't told you ninja this yet, but here's this ancient enemy that I once fought, and now he or she is back. We've seen that at several points before. Moro, Esphira, even Garmadon to an extent, especially Acronix and Crux, there have been several examples of villains that just have a history with Wu, and as such, I feel like he could fall to one of these in the future. There have been several examples so far, so who's to say that there aren't any more to come in the future? I think it's really unrealistic to suspect that at this point, now Master Wu's history has been fully covered. There are still several years that haven't been explored yet, so we might potentially see a return of a previous ally or villain that Wu faced during his past. And in the case of allies, if an ally shows up that wants to betray Master Wu, he could easily get the jump on the old sensei and end him for good. I feel like if the series wants to be even braver, they would have Garmadon kill Master Wu. I think that'd be something that could definitely change the tone of the series for a lot of people. Imagine how dark that would be for a second. Having Wu's brother be the one to end his existence would seem a little crazy for sure, but it would be really dark and really cool, really unexpected in a way. And I feel like if Ninjago does go that route, that would be seen as one of the most crazy decisions that the show has ever made. So maybe they should do that. In what context Garmadon would kill Wu, who's to say? Maybe he's being controlled by somebody, or maybe he wants to win the respect of someone. Either way, Garmadon is not fully good just yet like we saw in his last appearance. He is getting there, but he's not all the way there. And if they wanted to go ahead and have Garmadon kill Master Wu, maybe that would be the big push for Garmadon to turn good again, recognizing his guilt and recognizing what he did to his brother. That could solve a lot of issues, and that would be a very impressive thing for Ninjago to pull off. However, I don't think they will do that because the show most of the time plays it extremely safe. And like I said, even in the betraying option, the show has had opportunities to do this before. People like Moro or even Esphira could have been the one to end Wu's reign, but none of them did. Acronix and Crux definitely got pretty close, but it wasn't enough to permanently kill Master Wu. Either way, will Master Wu's death be impactful? That's an entirely different question. I feel like no matter what Ninjago does in killing Wu, if they decide to go that route, it's gonna seem a little too far too late. Like I said, Master Wu has had several examples of near-death experiences and several fake-out deaths. If they eventually do decide to kill Wu, it might seem a little repetitive and honestly just a little too late. I feel like if they wanted to do this for Wu's character, they should have done it a long time ago. No matter what though, if Ninjago does decide to kill off Master Wu at some point before the series is over, like I said, I would not be surprised. The series has showcased that Wu is indeed very vulnerable as he gets himself into a lot of situations, but he walks free of a lot of those. he walks away from a lot of those situations unharmed and basically unchanged. So in a sense, Wu is pretty much invincible, all things considered, which I suppose would make a fair bit of sense. He is the son of the first Spinjitzu master after all, but at what point do we decide to question all of these near-death experiences? At what point do we actually want to see something happen? In my opinion, Ninjago has already passed that, and I still feel like we might see that happen at some point in Ninjago's future before the series eventually does come to a close. In case you guys are wondering if I'm one of those people that dislikes Master Wu's character, I'm not. I feel like his character is very well done, and we've seen a lot of growth and development for him over the course of Ninjago's run, but I feel like his time to exit the series has been kind of overdue at this point. Once again though, I do not dislike Wu's character, I like him perfectly fine, I just feel like his place in the Ninjago scene is kind of overwelcome at this point. But that's just my opinion. Leave all your thoughts down below in the comments, you guys, and like I said, that'll pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here today. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below talking about what you think about this. Do you think Master Wu will die at any point throughout the Ninjago show? And if you do think that, in what way do you expect him to go? Leave all your thoughts down below in the comments, and hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and check out the links down below in the description from other forms of social media. As always, big shout out goes out to my Patreon supporters, including once again the marvelous Jan. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video once again. My name is TannerFishies, and with that I bid you farewell.